Hi, Rafael.
Jonathan?
You've always said you don't draft for need. The guy you took today would seem to fit a need. How much of that was or was not a consideration with choosing Reed Sheppard?
Yeah, so I definitely don't want to put down anybody in this draft. I do think it's a talented draft. I think there are a lot of guys who can and will have really productive NBA careers, but in this case, we kind of at the end of our process, we ended up with Reed as the best player in the draft by quite a bit, the best prospect we thought. Again, not putting anybody else down, and it's obviously going to be incumbent upon him to bear all that out. And kind of the only guy that we were really focused on. So if he had not gotten to us, I think we would have probably traded down or out of the draft. But when we had the opportunity to pick him, we jumped on it.
Vanessa Richardson. Oh, go ahead.
It's okay if I follow?
Oh,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Why did you feel that way, that he was the best player in the draft?
Yeah, I think he has a special. I mean, time will tell, right? It's I would say best prospect. But he just has a special set of skills. I mean, his shooting is historically great. And his feel for the game, his passing, his ability to get deflections, and he's an NBA athlete. Like he's not somebody who's under athletic, and so like the IQ and feel I think is very real, and so there's just a lot to like. That's the answer.
Thank you. Thanks, tomorrow.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Well, I was going to ask what about Reed made him your guy, but you kind of just answered it. So I guess my follow-up would kind of be the IQ piece of it. He just turned 20 years old. What about his basketball IQ kind of impressed you in the short time you've been able to get to know him?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, he's a very nice kid. I've gotten to know him a little bit off the court, but yeah, I haven't gotten to. His basketball IQ is from watching on film, and just he makes the easy play easy. He sees the court really well. His decision making, his processing is really quick. Even as I think it's one of the reasons he shoots so well, because the game comes easy to him and he knows whether he's going to shoot early enough to be ready to shoot. His shot preparations are like truly astoundingly good. So so yeah, that's what we saw. And then defensively, a lot of stuff. He baits guys on defense. He picks up cheap steals. He can almost cheat the game a little bit through anticipation. And again, he's a really good athlete, so he doesn't have to just rely on his anticipation. He's able to couple it with some, with some athleticism.
Thank you,
Christy Regan.
He mentioned whenever he talked after he was drafted that he's looking forward to playing with Van Vliet and learning from him. How much do you think he'll be able to get from him and playing with him?
Oh, I think that's like an invaluable experience. Fred was amazing for all of our players last year, even for our veterans. Fred's maybe the most professional and toughest NBA player I've ever been around in 20 years in the league. So I think it's a blessing for Reed to come into the situation.
Jackson Gatlin.
Hey, Rafael. There was some reporting prior to the draft about the team's possible interest in UConn's Donovan Clingan. So when both Clingan and Reed Sheppard were on the board at 3, what considerations did you guys have internally, and what kind of made Sheppard the right pick for your organization?
Yeah, we had Sheppard very, very high. So I think lots of players, including Donovan, were going to be very successful. But yeah, I mean, our evaluation was that Reed was, Reed has a very special skill set that gives him a chance. It's definitely not a certainty, but gives him a chance to be special in the NBA in a way we thought was unique in this draft.
Lashard Binkley.
How you doing, Rafael?
Hey, I'm good, Lashard.
You mentioned before that you didn't have a problem with several of your players in recent drafts going to the G League, spending some time there. Is that still the case for Reed Sheppard, or do you expect him to be in the rotation from the beginning of the season?
That's going to be 100% up to Ime, but I love the G League. I think playing basketball is playing basketball, and if it makes sense for him to play in the G League, he plays in the G League. If he beats people out, he plays in the NBA. That's great too. But I think I like the G League is so much better than college basketball. It absolutely is an important part of our developmental program for all our players, and I do not care where you're drafted.
Adam Spollen.
Hey, Rafael, did you know anything about, or how much did you guys know about Reed when he came out of high school? And when did he start to pop up as a guy who you thought you might take in the first round and then in the top 3?
Yeah, I mean, Reed was a top 25 player coming out of high school. So he was very much on the radar. I do think like there were a lot of question marks about translation. It's very rare that people dominate college basketball as a freshman the same way they dominated high school basketball and AAU basketball, and he did. And so that was apparent very quickly. So he was on our radar from the very beginning.
Michael Shapiro.
Hi, Rafael. I know you noted Reed as the top player on y'all's board, but the fit potentially with him alongside Alpert and the rest of your roster, can you kind of speak to that and how you envision him, especially offensively, working within this kind of team concept?
Yeah, I mean, he can really shoot and he can really pass. So players like that fit in every offense. He's got a high basketball IQ. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a good fit with Alpert, and he's a good fit with the men. He's a good fit with Fred and Jalen. But mainly because I think he's a talented basketball player, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And I do think that one nice thing for us is, to the extent like Reed is obviously not big, but we as a team we do have a lot of length and everything else, and he's pretty physical. So I do think it's a nice fit for us both offensively and defensively, and over the course of time. No one is expecting Reed to come in and play 40 minutes a game to start with. That would not be fair.
Brian Bearfield.
How you doing, Mr. Stone?
Good.
You talked before the season last year about Jalen's stepping up and becoming more of a leader, his leadership role. You even talked a little bit about that at the end of the season. How important was it to have him at the draft to be able to take that picture with Reed, shake his hand, and welcome him to the Houston Rockets?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I didn't know Jalen was going until today, so I'd gotten a heads up a couple hours beforehand, and obviously we didn't know we were going to get Reed, but they share the same representation, and I think really, really cool moment for Reed. So very nice of Jalen to do that.
Jonathan Fagan.
While we have you, can you discuss what was the motivation behind the trade last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think, mostly we thought it was a good deal. I think that, we were able to turn, a future first round pick and a future first round swap into 2 future first round picks and 2 future first round swaps. And, and I think it made sense. It diversified our kind of portfolio of picks going out. It pushed them out a little bit, which is really good for us. We're a very young team right now, and so pushing those picks out and having some draft picks a little further out, we think makes sense, both in terms of our ability to trade those picks, but also in terms of just picking them so that we don't have quite as many guys in their first, second, and third year at the same time. And we just thought it was great value. So for us, we'd been in discussions with Brooklyn for a long time, for months. And it was the culmination of lots and lots of talks, and Sean's a good guy and he's great to work with. And I'm glad it worked out. And obviously they were able to execute our deal with them, allowed them to then go and do a very, very large deal, which I think they feel really good about. So I think, it's kind of a win-win in this case.
Thank you.
Chancellor Johnson.
Hey, Rafael. In regards to Reed, obviously you guys have been scouting him for a while, but what did you notice when you guys had a chance to bring him in person for the draft workout that may have helped lead to ultimately the decision to draft him?
The draft workouts, I don't think impact our decision of drafting him, but we did get a chance to know him. And I was able to spend a lot of time with him. I think probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 days in total, and really nice young man, like, kind of all the things you'd hope. And so the level of comfort of kind of investing in somebody is that's what it provided. That time provided me, Ime, our coaches, our front office staff with the ability to kind of get to know who the person that you're investing is, and kind of at the end of that feel very, very comfortable with who he is as a person.
Adam Spollen.
On the Brooklyn trade, I guess whose idea was it, and just how complex is a deal like that? I don't think that type of a deal has been made before. So just what were the complexities of getting that done?
I don't want to go into who's. I mean, the ultimate deal is a subject to negotiation, right? So, that their idea was that we should just hand their picks back, and our idea was that we should get all of their picks. So, I don't want to go into whose idea it was, but yeah, like it's like lots of talks, and look, the situation Brooklyn is in and kind of the stuff they're doing isn't super dissimilar from the situation I found myself in when I first took over the franchise. And so, in our talks, Sean and I discussed that at least a little bit. And but they obviously made the decisions that they thought were best for them, and we made the decisions that we thought were best for us.
Brian Bearfield.
Going into day 2, what are some of the needs that you're looking at? What position do you think? Is there a certain position that you're looking to fill with that pick going into the second round?
Absolutely not. We're going to see. We have the 44th pick. We may pick it. We may trade it. We'll see who's, if we pick it, it'll just be the best guy there. If we trade it, it'll be just for the best thing we can get for it. We definitely are not expecting that at this stage we're going to bring in someone to fill a need. And frankly, we really like our team, and we like kind of all the returning members, and we don't feel as though we have any glaring needs right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ben DeBose.
Rafael, with the deal last night, you turned 2 picks into 4, or 2 assets into 4, and you pushed those further out, as you said. Is there a trend towards greater quantity in these superstar trade deals, or anything that you might look at down the line? Just speak, if you could, to the quantity angle of this.
I mean, yeah, it does seem as though people are asking for more and more in every trade. Like that certainly is happening. I think for us, it's not just the quantity, though; it's very much the quality. So, like a big thing for me in this deal is that there are no protections in our swaps or picks. So we're able to retain, real upside. And and for me, that's besides the quantity, the quality, I think is as high as can be. So that was a big deal for me.
That concludes today's presser. Thank you, Rafael.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Thank you.